All right, team, C151, pretty straightforward. 8 exercises, which means you got to get at least 3 people into each exercise. 5 rounds, 30 seconds of work and 15 seconds of rest with a 45-second end of round rest time. Again, very straightforward. You just got 8 exercises and 5 rounds. Nothing real complicated with that one. Again, there's C151. So split squat jump. What you're going to demonstrate, long gait. Okay, all you want is you want them just slightly moving for the beginners, okay? So minimize the range of motion. Once they get that motion down and they're not falling forward and they don't have this terrible, problem with bringing their knee over, their knee over their toes, get them in the long position. Once you get that and you can get a little bit more range of motion, just get a little bit more range of motion. Okay, once they get to that point and they're not 30 or 40 pounds overweight, then they can start adding that hop. But again, they want to press with that glute. They want to press through the heel and squeeze the glute as they come up. Again, we're trying to still work those glutes. That's push-up. Now, the dive bomb push-up really is an inverted push-up. What we do is an inverted push-up when we say dive bomb push-up, because the dive bomb push-up is a little bit different than this. However, we call it dive bomb push-up. So hips are in the air. The key here, hips in the air and try to keep the legs straight so that you can stretch the hamstrings and the calves at the same time. Most very important is notice the width of my hands. This is going to start to work a lot more tricep. This is going to be more shoulder. So I should be coming down. Notice my arms are at 90 degrees. Here they go past 90 degrees. So they're not at 90 degrees. It's more, again, more tricep. For a beginner, you can simply have them on their knees, keep the hip up, and they're just going to do a inverted push-up like this. Once they get past that, again, they can minimize the range of motion. Even though this doesn't look good, that's still hard for somebody who's a beginner, who's actually trying to get off their knees, and somebody who's maybe severely overweight. So that's okay. You want to encourage them full range of motion, but you might have somebody that just simply can't come all the way down. I mean, that's just too impossible for them. But for the average, for most of the members, wide handstands, heels down, legs straight, come down. If you need to, again, try to get that butt up high. Now, what you'll see is this, something like this, where they're very flexible and they're doing their push-up like this, okay? They're actually making it a little bit easier. You do want some distance. This is going to be harder than going that high because most of the load now goes into the legs and not into the shoulders. For your super advanced people, and this is very far and few between, but for your super advanced people, you can always have them up against the wall. Feet come up. Again, shoulder, you want to get it to 90 degrees. They're coming down and back up again, but only for your super advanced people. Everybody else, you can also take them and elevate their feet onto the boxes, but for your really, really advanced, you can always put them against the wall. That's very hard to do for any extended period of time, so it's only going to be for the super advanced. But for everybody else, heels down, legs straight, butts up. They come down to 90 degrees and then back up again. And there is the dive bomb push-up. Be the double kettlebell split squat. So this one here, we're going to do double kettlebells. They can also do goblet, but I recommend you do double kettlebell because we don't want to, we're going to do goblet on the next exercise. So on the split squat, nice long lunge, chest stays up, shoulders are back and down. We're not up like this, we're not falling forward. We're going to come straight down, straight up. We're going to push through that front heel. We have to physically think about pushing through the front heel and activating that glute. Otherwise, we're going to activate the quads. Again, straight down, straight up. Okay? Just lighten the load, lighten the range of motion. So for somebody who's new, who can't get this, and again, keep that back leg straight. We don't want it turned in or out. But for somebody who's new, just simply minimize the range of motion. Once they get the range of motion and the form down, then you can increase the load. Single leg, racked, step up. I'm sorry, not racked, but goblet or double. So on this one, we did the racked up there. Here, we're going to do the goblet because it's still using our shoulders, so we're still utilizing our shoulders. Again, we're going to come up and straight down. Notice that my torso does not fall forward. What I want is to push. Now I'm going to come back into like a lunge position. Because we're using the lower boxes, which I would prefer to see. When you use the higher boxes, you put a lot more stress on the knee. I'd rather see them go a little bit heavier and use the lower boxes than try to use the heavier boxes or the taller boxes. But the key here, especially for people that are taller, is to have that leg back a little bit further so I can get a good range of motion. And I'm actually helping assist in the hardest part and where I'm putting the most stress on. This leg is actually helping assist through that. So now the heaviest part of the load is at the top and where it can really activate those glutes and minimize any potential risk for the knee. Again, I'm going to come straight up, straight down. Now that my torso will move forward and back, but I'm not leaning forward. Once again, when you're in that situation where you have the load up high, you got to be really careful about bending over because that stresses the lower back. If that's not enough or they can't hold it like that, you can simply have them do a double kettlebell. Arm squat Arnold press. So the squat Arnold press, you're going to bring the dumbbell in front of you, kind of like a curl. So imagine just curling it in front of you. This is where it starts. You're going to squat. As you come up, you're going to press it and then open face. Now, you're not using momentum to drive it up like that. That's not what you're doing. It's a squat, nice and controlled, and you're bringing this up at the same time. There is no momentum being used in this, or very, very little momentum being used. But you're going up to an open face position. Elbows turned out. Notice how my elbow comes in. My elbows goes out. I only want to come to about chin level, chest level, about shoulder level with this dumbbell. Don't need to come any further down here because now I'm going to put a strain on that bicep. And if I'm using enough weight, that's going to be very difficult on the bicep. So elbow stays out, not close to the body, stays out. Press up, just like this. Keep the core engaged. For a new person, they just need to keep a slight bend in the legs, and they're just going to press up like this. And, of course, they're going to go very, very light. Next one is going to be your kettlebell sumo squat upright row. So you're going to come down into a sumo squat. Now, key here, anytime they pick up a heavy load, and this one could be fairly heavy because you'd be surprised how much you can lift with this. Drop the hips, keep that chest up, and engage that core. If they can't hit their stomach without losing their breath, that means that they don't have their core engaged. That needs to be engaged. So draw the belly button in, come up, row. You lead with your elbows. And again, this is pretty light. Okay, so you can get the 80 pounders for some of your advanced people. Easily get the 80 pounders for that. But again, you're demonstrating to your beginners. So you want to start with weight like this. Okay, because we always demonstrate to the beginners. Squat, upright row. Squat, upright row. The deeper you can get in that squat, the more you open the hips up. So not only are you getting legs, but you're also getting, you're opening up your rubber band squat with side lift. So you're going to have a rubber band on like this. More than likely, I'll probably make you do a little bit thicker rubber band than this, depending on who you are. So you're going to come down into a squat. Then you're going to stand back up, and you're going to lean over to the side and lift that one leg. So squat and lift. That's really going to work those glutes, especially on the side that you're working. Now, next one is going to be the rubber band squat, kettlebell or dumbbell, front raise hold. So you're going to be in a squat hold and a front raise hold. So what that means, once again, rubber band, probably going to be thicker than this one. Kettlebell, probably going to be heavier than this one. You're going to be holding it out, and you're going to be in the squatted position, and you're going to hold that. Now, the key on this one, keep the legs wide. That really activates the glutes. So we're really trying to activate the glutes here. The next one, bomb push-up. So dive bomb push-up, that is what most people do when they normally do a push-up, which is their butts up and they're doing something like this. You'll see that a lot. So this is an actual dive bomb push-up, and we're going to be working a lot of shoulders. You want to come down, full range of motion. Okay, so get that butt up as high as you can. Neutral spine, not up here and not looking forward. Neutral spine means that you're looking at the feet. The other thing too, active stretch in the hamstrings and in the calves. So keep those heels planted, keep the legs straight as possible, and you're going to get an active stretch in your hamstrings and your calf muscles, which are very good for this workout because we're going to beat those up. Then the last one.